Hey guys, Silver Suspiria here, your XO. I just wanted to give you a quick update on our null activities, what the war looks like, and maybe some of the background. I think maybe some of the guys don't know the political climate, um, why our nullsec pocket has been so busy, and why it is that we're making a name for ourselves in the mainstream media of EVE online and some of the biggest and most storied organizations in EVE. Um, so I figured I'd start with the SOV map and give you guys a look at the current political climate and why it is we're so active right now in nullsec. As you can see, if you remember, we used to have Pandemic Horde living right next to us up in this region here and even to the east of Cloud Ring. A few months ago, Pandemic Horde left this region for a bigger region over in Gemnit. And that was a tactical move for them because this space is much bigger than this space. And with an organization that big, they needed more resources to support their guys. When they removed from this organization, GOTG pushed down from the north and occupied this space, among other groups. But what that did was drew a line right through our system. Right here is Federation Uprising, the Aslot constellation. Drew a line right through where the forces of the Imperium, Initiative, TNT, the Bastion, and other groups live just to the south. So this evac and pushdown has moved the front line of these two enemies right through our constellation. And this has made things erupt into, a skirmish zone. I mean, these two are not formally at war. If you ask the leaders, they are skirmishing. The initiatives have sent their SIG groups, their special interest groups, to harass, to take space if they can. They've stated it's not an invasion, but it is a skirmish, is the best way to put it. But at that scale is very huge for us, and it makes it a war for us. So what's been going on here is because we're to the left of this line, we're the front line of where the GOTG would strike back up and into Cloud Ring, and they have to get through us to get to the space of initiative. So the initiative has been pushing back, and their special interest groups with TNT and some other groups have been doing a lot of damage up in and around MOA space, up into Chaos space. So what's happened is they hired Black Legion, led by ELO Knight, to come down and help deal with those SIGs. At about that same time, SIG activity kind of died down from the initiative, and Black Legion was left for nothing really to fight. So they turned to FEDUP, which they knew was under constant pressure by Tissue. So Tissue has been pushing on us for the better part of 6 to 8 weeks or so, with cloaky camping, with nightly incursions into our space. They set up timers with their super fleet, and Black Legion has been capitalizing on those timers. So this has put us under a tremendous amount of pressure, and this is why we're so active and consumed in null. And if you remember, Ashtarothi put out an update not too long ago, discussing what it is that we were trying to do, the end goal of our nullsec campaign. It's always been about content. So the combat that we've been getting is exactly why we play EVE, right? For a storied organization and a great FC like ELO Knight and Black Legion to come down and fight us is exactly what we've always wanted. We fight people who are better than us, and we get better. It also has brought us closer to our allies in Galmil. Galmil has been very supportive of our efforts in nullsec, because right now we're trying to see in 2 weeks' time, around June 1st, if we could secure those two outposts that are in Udi and in 5S. When they become faction Fortizars, those will be the trophies and the fruit of all your efforts here. Besides the fact that we're getting the best content I've ever experienced in EVE. Nightly fighting. Big fights like you see on the screen. We have 450 people in local in QA1 fighting over our Fortizar that is in armor. Look at that Macario fleet. Look at the numbers in fleet. 155 Galmil in a Macario fleet defending our structure against some very big organizations. Up here you have Black Legion in a Maelstrom fleet. Just behind them, you have Tissue in their capital fleet. And then you'll have GOTG come down in a Loki fleet. And then that gains the attention of the Imperium and TNT, who show up in their hack fleet. And suddenly we're brawling in an extremely fun fight that leads to us saving our Fortizar, having it repair, and having us live to fight another day. So this is what's been going on. This is the climate that we're dealing with. It's been extremely taxing on our military. I know that. I know that you guys have been putting in a lot of time, which is why we need everybody's support. During the day in the EU time zone, I know there isn't exactly much fighting. A lot of these big fights come in the US time zone, but there's still much you can contribute. Go up there and be together. Do some ratting in 5S, in QA1, in UDI, in a fleet. Be there to support each other. Bring tackle, bring skirmish ships, and rat and be together on comms. And what that does is make you a little bit of money, but it also pushes up the strategic defense multiplier. The higher we get these bars up on our system, the harder it is to take the stations. The active defense multiplier does two things. One, it makes it longer to use an Entosis link to capture the station. Right? A null mechanic, if you want to capture a player-owned outpost, if you want to capture the system itself or an iHub, you need to use an Entosis link, which is a high slot item in a ship. You target the structure, you use this as a weapon, and it counts down a timer. It's very much like plexing. Basically, you orbit the structure with this Entosis link on for a set amount of time, and when the timer is down, you've won. Well, the higher the attack defense multiplier is, the longer it is they have to sit on grid and do this activity. Also, that the vulnerability window is only a certain hours wide, right? So the system is only vulnerable for a certain amount of time. The higher the active defense multiplier, the smaller that window. So the more we can do to shrink down those vulnerability windows, increase the time it takes to capture these stations and TCUs and iHubs that make up nullsec, the harder it is for our enemy to win. And we just have a few weeks to go. So if you have questions, if you're concerned about what's going on in Null and how you can help, or if you have some misconceptions about why Null may not be the place for you right now, please see me or see one of your leaders, and we'll get with you and give you some instructions on how you can help, where you can make some ISK, and what it is that you can be doing out there. But as you can see, it's been great. The battle on the screen was some of the best fighting I've ever had. Over here is a group from the Imperium. Notice that they're blue for this fight. Because we're on the front lines, the enemy of our, enemy is our friend, right? So it looks like, with the Imperium here and GOTG facing off, we were there to help. Turned into a great fight. See if you could get involved. It's been some great action. Silver out.